What up?
What's going on?
Fuck all, man.
Fuck all.
We're here. We've done. I think this is our first time, just us two in our new little setup. Isn't it?
It is.
Sitting across this table, staring into each other's eyes lovingly.
Getting into it.
Lapelled up to shit.
Always.
Just fucking looking. The production quality is.
It's
through the roof.
It's coming along, isn't it?
We got so many lights to show out, highlight our imperfections.
Yeah, exactly. The 4K footage to fucking
I'm just
see every pore on my face.
Thing just staring into my soul. But it's good, man. Things are coming together. We've upgraded from an 1850s fucking wooden table, and the shittest chairs of all time.
Oh, that like after like 45 minutes, your legs are hurting, weren't they? Your ass is hurting.
Yeah, whereas this is mad. I feel good.
Yeah.
I'm lapelled. I don't have to worry about a mic. There's no apparatuses around me. I'm a bit like Talladega Nights. So I don't know what to do with my hands, but just fill it with a beer.
Yeah, exactly. What do you got there? Cooper's...
Sparkling ale, 2 for $6 at the bottle because I'm fucking broke at the moment. But
Sparklings, man. They'll have you fucked up.
Yeah, they sure will. That's why I only have 2 of them. But yeah, how are you, man? What's been going on?
Good. Just been grinding, dude.
Yeah, you've finally taken a little step towards the business.
Yeah, man.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so just been doing like a couple days a week, working for marketing now, which is good.
For all your marketing needs.
For all your marketing needs.
All your marketing needs.
When you want to market something out there, we'll give you a hand. But yeah, so it's been good because it's at the point now where like it needs a bit of extra, hours dedicated to it, especially if we want to start like growing at we've been growing at a certain speed, but now that like we're at the point where we want to be able to facilitate our lives full time kind of thing. So he's got to put more time into it. Simple as that. Mate,
for a business that's only been around for that long to basically supporting 1.5 people off its own back already, is pretty special.
Yeah, so, it's not too bad, man.
For all your marketing needs.
It's going good, man.
I'm excited for when we've got the little ad at the front of the.
Oh yeah, we'll get it in.
Like Cow Downy Fair, but except
if
you need a website.
If you need
3 websites.
If you need some Google ads, call me.
If you need a dark web website for your pingers.
You get a free funeral and a Game Boy Color.
Come down to marketing Downy Fair.
So mate, I've just been grinding. That's it,
Fuck yeah, dude.
What's been going on with you? A bit of chaos or what? Moving house.
Crazy. Moving house has been fucked up. We've had fucking medical issues with the missus, and she's all good now. But we've had a clusterfuck of a couple of weeks. But not to worry, my man, because the grass is always. The grass is always greener. Not that. But there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. That's the
grass is always lighter at the end of the tunnel. All right.
The grass is always greener at the end of the light-filled tunnel.
The end of the light-filled tunnel.
If I could make that the episode name, it would fit. That's a great.
That's a very Fall Out Boy title, isn't it?
Yeah, I broke up with my missus at the grass because the grass was greener at the end of the light-filled tunnel. Geener. I can't fucking. I'm fucked, man. It's been a crazy time, but I'm fired up as well. All right.
Yes.
We're coming in for a rabbit hole. So enough about our life. Let's talk about the well. Shit's fucked right now.
Because it's been a hot minute since we've done a little rabbit hole. This is not a full, like we've said last time, this is not a full dedicated conspiratorium where we get articles and we go through. This is just riffing about current events.
I'll look
this
at
is
some
almost
memes
like
that I've saved on my phone that I can't share on Facebook because I'll get banned.
Yeah, this is almost like a fucking news bulletin. Because since we've last even touched on this, because the last couple of weeks we've been doing, the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the Omegals, and we had Tony on. We've just been doing some different shit.
Yeah.
And
so we haven't ranted for a while.
And a lot has happened.
Oh yeah.
A lot.
Well, basically, COVID's just disappeared.
Yeah, I was thinking this today. I was like, man, news and like world events and shit at the moment is just going so fucking fast. Like COVID was like the big fucking thing, right?
And now it doesn't exist.
And now it's like nobody's fucking caring about it at all.
Pfizer's released those documents with like the 1,200 possible side effects, and it's just radio silence.
Oh,
and
bro.
It doesn't even exist anymore. The amount of people because I've pretty much ditched the mask at this point. Like,
I'm on mask in ages, bro.
Yeah, I just going into shops and shit now. I just couldn't give a fuck, and a lot of people I'm noticing like before it used to be I was a bit of the odd one out, whereas now it's probably 50-50 in most places that I go.
Yeah, right.
That I see, like when I walk into Woolies, like I'm seeing every second person sometimes without it, which was just not happening.
See, I'm seeing less than that. I'm seeing like in the 70%, I'd say 70.
Not wearing.
Yeah, not wearing.
Yeah, no, I'm still seeing a fair few people wearing it, but a lot less than what I was before. So I think everyone's kind of fed up with it. But yeah, I just love how the convenience of this Russia war has just completely changed the fucking news cycle, and now there's no such thing as fucking COVID anymore.
Yeah.
There's no numbers, there's no deaths, there's no daily this, there's no whatever, there's no even the vaccination push. I mean, they've just rolled back some of the mandate for the healthcare sector. They've rolled back some of the mandate for the police, who SAPOL were fighting it incredibly hard, which I was pretty happy to see.
Well, I'm seeing a lot more police on the road now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the whole thing's starting to fucking fall apart, man. It's crazy. I mean, it's sad that you think about all the people that didn't want to go and get it, but didn't have a choice because they got mouths to feed, or whatever they've got to make ends meet. So they went against what felt natural, what felt right to them, what felt like what they wanted to do, because they didn't have a choice in the matter, and that's what sucks, man.
That's what honestly fucking sucks more than anything. Is just the fact that there's all these people that had their religious beliefs, or had their doubts about the efficacy, or had all these kind of objections.
And they were bullied and coerced.
They were.
That's
100%.
When it's not even being talked about now on even 10% of the scale of what it was 6 months ago.
It was every morning on the radio.
Every ad-on fucking thing, every sunrise, every fucking like whatever. It was just.
And we've reached 59%.
Constant. And now, not even being talked about.
Yeah. You're not hearing a
it's just that they've completely changed the news cycle, because they know that they've lost the public's support for it.
Yeah.
But in that time, they managed to. And I don't believe that the number is anywhere near what they say.
Well, what do they say it is? Because I just don't.
They reckon now like 92.1% of everyone in South Australia is double jab.
92.
92 is what I saw someone share the other day, which I just don't buy into that at all. I know enough people that aren't vaccinated. Yeah. And I don't just hang around with, you know what I mean? Like I know enough people that are, to think that number can't be accurate.
I don't think so.
I mean, maybe 70, 80. Like maybe it's 70,
oh, yeah. It would probably be the majority.
I do think it's the majority, but I think that they, I don't think 92. I think that was just them trying to.
I don't think people are rushing out to get boosters anytime soon.
Not at all. I would say the booster percentage is maybe 10-20%.
Yeah,
honestly.
it'd be quite slim.
Because a lot of people got hit for fucking 6 by 1 and 2 that they went, nah. They also then saw how much they were just going to be pushing 3, 4, 5s and 6s onto everyone, and they went, well, I'm not fucking doing that.
Yep.
They went, I'm just going to stop now. If that's what they're going to go, I'm going to end up having a fight somewhere down the track. I might as well draw the line at booster. That kind of what a lot of people felt. But I think the most interesting thing for me, and I started sharing it straight away, the memes and that about like COVID walking out the door and
I saw that one with the rocket walking in.
I mean, it's like we kind of knew that something like that was going to happen. It was just going to hit a point where no one was buying into it. Their ratings were dropping, and how are they going to get ratings back? Well, people are fucking petrified of there being war. But I think the thing that disappointed me the most is that all the people that started to like not trust the media, the narrative changed, and all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, oh bloody Russia, whatever, and they're just like straight back in. I'm like, dude, how did you not learn anything from this? They don't not tell the truth for 2 years and then go, oh, well, we're telling the truth about this fucking thing.
All of a sudden.
And that's the exact same thing we said about COVID. It was like all these people had already lost trust in the media based on, let's say, the Iraq War, weapons of mass destruction, all of these things where we know that they lied to us. And people were, like, a lot of people were already turning away from the mainstream media. And then COVID hit, and it was like, oh, there's a pandemic now. We got to, like, find out what's going on. Where's it safe to go? Where's it not safe to go? What are we going to do? And I'm like, why the fuck would they start telling you the truth now? No one goes, oh, no, now this is serious enough. Oh, we got to start telling the people the truth. No, they just keep doing the same shit they've done for fucking forever.
I think a lot of people over these last couple of years have woken up to what's going on.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And it's funny, I saw this meme, and it was like, you know how every time there's this new virtual signaling fucking, cause coming about, it's Facebook or whatever release a little badge where you can have your display picture, but then you have like the I support whatever it is. This is like a little Wojak NPC like emotionless thing, and it said like it had like a circle around him, and then it said I support whatever cause is whatever cause is going at the moment or whatever it was. And I just like lost my mind when I saw that. It was just like this mindless drone. And it had I support whatever cause is popular at the moment or something like that.
Have you got that Ty Frisch guy, the comedian from there, who's like hell like into the I'll share. I shared one of the things on our story yesterday, and he was talking about like when the mask mandates end, and it's like this guy. So it's like him obviously talking to himself, but like in the video.
Yeah.
And it's him like sitting there with no mask, talking to someone with a mask, clearly got multiple masks on.
Yeah.
And he's like, the mask mandates ended yesterday? And they're like, did they? Oh, I didn't know that was just yet. Oh, well, it's about time. And like takes off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're like talking the whole time like, it's just time that we started to get. And then after they get the final mask off, they're like, puts it back on. No, I can't do that. It was just so funny, man. Like it's
throughout the whole, honestly, with the whole mask situation throughout the last whole 2 years, I would say that total time spent for me with the mask on would probably be less than 48 hours in total in the last 2 years.
That's good, man.
Because like I would like walk into a client if they needed it to be done, I'd put it on, right? Or I'd walk into Woolies. I'd like put it on and I'd be, let's say, in Woolies for 10 minutes or into this client for 5 minutes. As soon as I'm out, it was off. Yeah. Never wore it when I was driving or anywhere that didn't need to be. So yeah, in the last 2 years, I reckon my mask total would be 48 hours. I feel sorry for the people that who worked 8 hours a day and had to wear it all day.
Through the entire pandemic, man, it's been fucking
bullshit.
That
would be fucking
she
chaos.
Just breaks out and everything just because of how much and there's oil in the kitchen. It's just fucked, man.
And masks, and like that episode we did with the lady who what is it, like a medical forensic investigator? The videos we watched. When we watched the video, she was saying that masks really just like they trap the bacteria more than they stop the viruses and they make you sicker.
And that's why the cloth ones are so bad, because like you're just like breathing into like cotton. It's just all sitting in the fucking... Yeah, so I'm sure everyone's sick of us talking about coronavirus. I think the only thing I really wanted to bring up about that, it was just that, how much the fucking, the narrative has just shifted.
And I can't wait to never talk about the fucking thing again.
Oh, dude, honestly. I'm so glad. I think, as I said, it just breaks my heart that in that time, how many people, went against their will to have to go and do something, and now there's no talk about it. So everyone's kind of being like, hold on a second, it was the most important thing ever fucking 4 weeks ago, and now you don't even care?
Yeah.
Like, well, this was everything to me. Like, this was literally a moral dilemma of the severity of which I've never dealt with before.
Yeah.
Like, I've got my family who rely on me to be able to put this roof over their head and put food on their table. And I had to then go against something, my own medical autonomy, and something that I didn't want to do to provide for them. And now you don't even give a shit?
Yeah.
Like, that's so fucking soul destroying.
Yeah.
And then they try to wipe that off the face of the earth with just fear porn again about this fucking Russia situation.
Yeah, pretty much, hey.
Did you see the thing I shared today, speaking of the Russia thing? Let's see if I can find it. Where is it? So far, Russia has been cut off from CNN, YouPorn, and Facebook. They're working on depriving the Russians of Coca-Cola next. If they keep these sanctions up at the current rate, Russia will be the healthiest and most well-adjusted country on the planet in a few months.
I like that.
Which is so good. And one of the best things, like I saw straight away as soon as it started coming out from Russell Brand, just being like, don't get tricked into thinking that he's just this fucking evil thing when you need to look at your own backyard. Look at the reasons and the basis that we invaded fucking Yemen, Lebanon, Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, all of them was false bullshit pretenses.
Legit.
Chemical attacks that were coming from Syria. That's why we needed to intervene. And as I said, and this brings us full circle right back to our first ever conspiratorium about Operation Northwoods.
Yeah.
So you go back, if you're looking at this now and going, and wondering why I'm saying, like, I'm not saying Russia's good. I don't know enough about
the situation's too muddy to really
Yeah,
You know?
it's not about me saying that, oh, no, Russia good, America bad. That's not it at all. I'm saying that before you go and sort of like lampoon this person as, you know, this political heretic who's just wanting to watch the world burn, have a look at the basis and the reason that, you know, America has killed millions of people.
Yeah.
Like pretty much genocide wherever they go, on the basis of absolute flimsy bullshit. And that goes all the way back to Operation Northwoods, which is a declassified operation where they were going to attack American civilians themselves and then blame it on Fidel Castro so they could intervene in Cuba back then.
Yeah.
So you look at that and you look at weapons of mass destruction, turn out to be bullshit. Very questionable 9/11 story that led to the Afghanistan war. Then, yeah, weapons of mass destruction for the Iraq war, chemical weapons while we're intervening in Syria. And everywhere they went, it's just been drone attacks that have hit children's hospitals and, you know, civilian fucking deaths where they promised that the new things that they were going to do were not going to cause civilian deaths.
Yeah.
Then cover-ups of those
Yeah.
over and over and over again. And yet now we're going, oh, Putin, man, what
an evil...
What a fucking absolute...
Yeah.
Oh, the next Hitler. And it's like... You've literally supported the wars of people that have caused way more deaths than Hitler did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there has definitely been more than fucking 6 million deaths in the 2 decades that we've occupied fucking the Middle East.
Yeah. Look, we're not sitting here saying that we support innocent people being murdered, right? That's not what we're saying. But it's interesting that he comes out and he says in a statement, an official statement from the Russian ministry, and says... We're going into these places to denazify. That was the word that he used, to denazify. Now that's very interesting when you start lining things up a little bit, and you know, and the Ukraine. Have we done an episode about Burisma?
No, I think we have talked about.
I think we've touched on it a little bit about how Hunter Biden. Yeah, and a little bit about that. But it's interesting because Burisma is a Ukrainian company.
So basically, long story short, there's massive ties between the Biden crime family syndicate and A, the CCP, and B, Ukraine.
Yeah.
And we've heard about Ukraine for
Long
5-6 years now.
Or even Uranium One was had Ukraine involved in it.
Was all since the start of the Trump presidency, and we learnt about the ties with the Biden family to Ukraine. So them being involved in all of this now, and Biden and the US government coming out and, you know, we're going to do this and we're going to do that if you guys continue this, is very interesting because it seems like they've got some sort of vested interest in protecting them, you know, as a result of these ties that have existed there before. And again, you know, the amount of people that I'm seeing come out again and just be like, none of this shit was happening when Trump was in power.
Yeah.
He was over shaking hands with fucking North Korea, shaking
hands
hands
walking across the DMZ.
Doing so much shit that was just still not getting the fucking positive coverage that it needed.
Yeah. And people were like, oh yeah, no, fucking Putin's just a warlord, man. You know, he just wants to go in there and fucking take this land and shit. And it's just like, if he was just about if this is just about him wanting to take the land, right?
He'd already have it.
Why the fuck wouldn't they have done it when the coronavirus was happening?
Yeah.
Because it would have been weak. Like Ukraine especially, because they're a small country, right, would have been weakened because of coronavirus. And the Russian army, they wouldn't have given a shit. They would have just been like going, mowed straight through.
Later,
yeah. Honestly, if it was about taking land, this war would have been done already.
Yeah. Ukraine's
such a small country and Russia's such a powerful superpower, this would have been done already. So this isn't about land.
Yeah. And again, they would have fucking wiped it from existence.
Yeah,
the kind of military power that they have, which clearly means that
they're on par with the US, bro.
There are bigger things at play here. It's more like he's trying to show, hey, but then is it even like we don't even know really if what they're saying is happening because they've already been caught. There's a video game called Arma 3, which they've already had to threaten to sue because their clips were being used in media.
Really?
Clips from the game were being used in.
I didn't know that.
Media.
Was that the Ghost of Kiev propaganda? That jet fighter. They were like, there was this thing going around social media where it was like, there's this Ukrainian pilot who's already shot down 6 Russian jets, and they're calling him the Ghost of Kiev and whatever. And it was literally footage, like super realistic footage from a game, and yeah, it was just all propaganda. None of it's real. Like there's no ghost of Kiev, and you also got to think about it like this from a you know more of a rational point of view, right? Ukraine would be using old generation technology, probably from Russia, bro.
Yeah.
Their jets would get obliterated by the modern Russian jets.
Yep.
It wouldn't be like one dude wouldn't be able to take out 6. Unfortunately, that's just not how it works, man. If you've got technology from 2015 up against technology from 2022, no matter how good of a pilot you are, you're not winning, unfortunately. Like, so you know what I mean? Like it's.
Yeah. So some of the most popular Ukraine footage is actually a video game. Arma 3, a video game that in the right circumstances can look pretty realistic, has a long history of turning up on news broadcasts and being either confused with or intentionally used in place of actual camera footage of real-world events. The trend that is continuing in the current crisis in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And we saw that with, what was it, one of our earlier episodes, I can't remember what it was. It wasn't a video game, but we did do that clip, I remember, about how they'd use something, yeah, I can't remember what it was now, but that shit happens all the time.
Oh, yeah.
The news just grabs whatever the fuck they can. They give no shit about fucking posting shit that's not sourced or anything at all.
Not at all, man.
They're supposed to be a trustworthy.
Well, that was like, I heard a thing this morning from Timcast. There was all these articles from all these reputable news sources saying that Putin's terminally ill and he's got bowel cancer, and it's coming from an anonymous source inside of the Ministry of Defense or something like that. And it's just like, who actually still listens to the mainstream media and believes what they say?
How many times do they say that about fucking Kim Jong-un as
well?
Like they've said he's going to die that many fucking times.
It's all propaganda, bro.
Yeah.
It's all propaganda.
I just want to get people fucking thinking that they know shit.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I've heard a lot about part of the reason why Russia is going into these areas is because there's biological labs in these areas. Labs that happen to do research on viruses.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. So they've gone into these labs and they've destroyed them, essentially.
Yeah.
So this whole, you know, when they're coming out saying the denazification, the way we'll try and tie it together for the people listening, the way that essentially that I'm grasping it is Putin is not a part of the deep state. Pretty obvious.
Yeah.
He might be a part of his own kind of group, whatever, just like Trump is, but like, he's not a part of it. He hasn't got their agenda in mind.
No, I don't think so either.
So they've got all these biological labs, one in Wuhan, and then a couple in Ukraine that have been reported to have been destroyed now. And what's interesting is there's also a big hotspot of these biological labs in Taiwan,
which is the bordering China.
So now what a lot of people are thinking is the next step of what's going to happen is that China are going to bust into Taiwan and start blowing up these biological labs, right? And it's going to be funny because with Russia, it's like Biden's coming out like, yep, we're cutting them off. We're doing this. You can't do this. Visa, MasterCard, you can't breathe. You can't sniff your ass, right? You can't do anything, right? But we know, right, how deep, he doesn't have ties with Russia. We know how deep he has ties with China.
Yeah.
If China bust in now, right? So you got people that are good, like the good, like white hats that were in the Chinese government that are going into these deep state biological labs in Taiwan. And then the news is going to be like, oh, now fucking China's invading Taiwan. They've wanted it forever and now they're busting in. It's World War III, rah, rah, rah. Is Biden going to come out
and do the same sort of
and do the same kind of sanctions and go against his biggest bankroll?
Yeah, and we've seen like the way that like John Cena and all these people just bow LeBron James just bow the fuck down to China, dude.
Yeah.
Like, their power is unfucking believable.
It's completely different to Russia. He's got nothing to do with Russia.
No, not at all.
Right? But when it comes to China, because if he doesn't, right, then people are going to look at it and be like, hold a minute. China have just done the exact same thing that Russia are doing. Yeah. Invading a different country.
And you're spinning that as like,
and and you're spinning that as positive, right?
But when Russia did the exact same
thing. But when Russia did the exact same thing, it's like,
yeah.
But then also, if he's fucked either way. But then if he goes out and he condemns China, then all the deep state black hats in China are going to be getting shut on. Yeah. Because then he's bringing awareness to the, he's fucked either way.
Yep.
Like.
And I fucking hope that happens, man. A funny one I saw today was, it's not a game or anything, but in case anyone was wondering, the conspiracy theorists are up 16-0.
Yeah,
which is true, man. Like
it's
everything,
everything we've been
I need to go back and have a listen to our early talks about coronavirus and grab some clips and date them, timestamp them, and be like, we fucking said this shit in March of what we should May of 2020.
Because in the next couple of weeks, we've got some guests lined up, some good guests, right? We're looking forward to seeing them. But what we should do is when we get back from a bit of a stint with the guests, you and me will come up here, we'll sit down, we'll go through our old episodes, right? And we'll make clips and snippets, and we'll sit here, right? And we'll go back and we'll listen to what we said then, and we'll relate it to where we are now, because we're not special researching fucking journalists, fucking undercover crazy dudes. We're just dudes that hear from those kind of people, like Project Veritas, X22, you know, all these kind of people, Tim Cast, all these kind of, even Russell Brand, you know, he'll do a lot of research, you know. We just kind of hear from them and form our own decisions.
And you can see the trends of shit. You can kind of see where shit's going to go straight away. Like, we're already saying that here's the landscape of what's probably like why the Russia war is like now. It's not even that big of a deal really in the scheme of things. Like, Russia is possibly just going in and taking out these fucking laboratories and almost doing it in more of a threatening way. Like, we're going to keep this fucking shit up unless, you know, we stop seeing some of these other things happening around the world. It can just be something like that, and yet it's like, no, he's not. Like, we can see what the reality of it is before it is, and that's kind of what we had said way back then with the with the coronavirus stuff as well. Like, we said that it's going to be to put. I'm pretty sure we talked about how they're probably going to push the vaccine mandates very early in the piece. And it absolutely fucking came to fruition. So,
well, I remember one of the episodes we did, one of the first kind of COVID vaccination episodes we did.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't Back to the Future. It was like in my old house.
Yeah.
And we were saying, halfway through, we were like, breaking news, Morrison has come out and said there's not going to be any mandates.
We did,
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Was that in 2020 or was that in 2021? Early 2021? If it was
early 2021, just before you moved, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to have to go back and do some combing, because we definitely did say that.
Yeah.
And I think we probably doubted it at that time, as we ended up knowing that it didn't end up coming true.
Well, was there any hard mandates?
Well, yeah, true. There was never any government mandates.
Yeah, it was just companies.
It was just all the private sector.
Of course, and that's why they have control over more.
I guess there are. I mean, I guess you have to count, because things like the police and what do you call it? Healthcare.
Yeah, okay.
They are government bodies. So when there wasn't any government mandated every civilian has to be, but there was government mandated in terms of here's all the government sectors that have to have it. So it wasn't a political mandate for every person.
Yeah.
But by the time you count all the sectors that they tried to, all the government sectors, and then you look at all the private sectors that brought it in, it was as fucking close you could get to far reaching. But then again, him coming out and being like, oh, I didn't put any mandates in, but you didn't fucking do anything to stop it either. You didn't make it illegal to mandate your fucking, for private companies or for government agencies to mandate their workers to have medical treatment.
Yeah.
If you came out and did that, then this wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't be in the situation we're in now.
Yeah.
This is a good one. I stand with Ukraine in quotations has knocked. I'm fully jabbed off the #1 spot in this week's virtue signaling top 100 charts. And wear a damn mask is now at #3. We've saved the NHS slipping to #4. Blame Putin is shooting up the charts, taking the #5 spot from Clap for Heroes.
Do you know what more than this whole debacle? What really tilted me in terms of, like, you know, the whole narrative, like you were saying there, like the one-liners. The whole thing with thank your first responders or your, what are they called, essential workers. Thank your essential workers, right?
And then look what they did to them.
And then look what they did to them.
And then all of a sudden, like, your fucking truckies and whatever, who then started the protest, were all anti-vaxxers, they were all whatever. Yeah. And like I think we've got to talk about the convoys and shit like that.
So yeah, we haven't talked about that, because I want to talk about that because Mr. fucking Castro Trudeau Jr., right?
Yeah.
He fucked up, because essentially it was like, all right, we've got this big group of truckers, right? 80-something% of them were vaccinated. But it was not about that. It's about the fucking principle. It's about you shouldn't have to choose between your job and a DNA altering medical procedure.
Yeah.
Right? You shouldn't have to do that, regardless.
Yeah.
Especially with how deadly. You know what? If the coronavirus was 50% you get it, you die, 50% you live, okay, I can understand.
Yeah.
Right? But it's a 99.7%. It's like a fucking flu, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? But what's happened is, so they've gone into Ottawa, essentially. They fucking stayed there for like 2 weeks or whatever it was. And then he disappeared. Then he came back, and you could see him all fucking flustered and losing his cool and whatever. They weren't moving.
Calling everyone fucking misogynist and racist.
Just doing everything they could, just like labeling them buzzword king, right? And then finally, right, he got to the point where he had to show his hand. They had to show that they weren't leaders for the people. They are dictators. Yeah. They are 100% dictators. I do not view Justin Trudeau any differently to I would have viewed fucking Castro, fucking Saddam Hussein, Adolf Hitler, any of these people. They're all the fucking same. They're all dictators, bro. Yeah. They all rule with an iron fist. And what happened is he came down and said, you donated $50 to the convoy on fucking GoFundMe, your bank account's frozen. Yeah. And like I heard a story of like a single mum donated $50 to the convoy, bank account's frozen. Probably still frozen to this day. You gotta tell me that's not dictatorship right there.
Well, the powers that he enacted that allowed him to be able to do that, to have that kind of control, were enacted 3 times in Canada's history. World War I, World War II, and I can't remember the third. There was there on the cusp of a war at one of the, whether it was during the Vietnam or something happened 3 times. The third one, obviously, it was a pretty major event, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
But it wasn't
World War
I
and World War II, it wasn't a fucking protest. It was, again, the brink of war starting, whatever it is. Yeah. And then fucking truckers saying that we don't want to be mandated. Yeah. How the fuck does that fit in with the other 3?
It doesn't.
And he pulled it pretty quickly. I think the outrage was pretty universal across the country when they were like, hold on a second, that's a big overreach to have to kind of enact these kind of powers. So I think he reversed on that pretty quickly.
But it's too late.
That's planted.
The curtains have been open, bro. Yeah. It's too late now for them, unfortunately. Like, let's be real. If you're walking around with your head in the sand now in 2022, after everything that's happened in these last 2 years, it's almost at a point now where if you can't see it now, you're never going to see it.
Yeah. There's no way Liberal government survives this election next week here either. No fucking way.
I don't think Labor will get in either. I think there's going to be so many people like us that are going to be voting all these independent people in that it's going to be the most fucked, like crazy parliament that it's ever been. Yeah. You're going to have like a good like third of it being independent people. Yeah. You're not going to get any of these bad bills passed through. You're not going to get any of this crazy shit.
No, because it's just going to be fucking pandemonium. It's going to be crazy, but I think it's going to be possibly a good crazy.
Well, how does it get really? How does
it get worse?
How does it get any worse than this? You know, you go through the generations. You go like, all right, you know, the people that were born, you know, the 20s and 30s. They were like, you know, their adolescent years were in the Great Depression, the World War, in World War II in the 40s, whatever. But if you think about what we've gone through, our generation and, you know, Generation Y, Generation Z, Generation X, you know, whatever, baby boomers, people who are alive now, right? We've gone through like worldwide catastrophes non-stop for basically the last 2 years. Yeah. Like, and it's not getting any better. Like, and that, like, you know, you think about it like that and you're like, oh shit, you know, I've just like faced like, you know, supposedly like one of the most deadly pandemic to ever exist. Yeah. And then we're coming out of that and we're going straight into fucking World War III. Yep. And all this shit. And so really, I'm at the point now where it's like, what more can be done? Yeah. Really. And, you know, and people were starting to understand that this isn't black versus white. This isn't male versus female. This isn't you versus me. This is us, the people, versus them, the 1%. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. And unfortunately, they've infiltrated into so many different sectors. They've got their tentacles wrapped around so many different politicians that it takes a long time for people to understand. But it's not Labor versus Liberal. It's not Democrat versus Republican. It's not red versus blue. It's not like, you know, it's not that. That's what they keep saying to us to keep us distracted.
Yeah, because they want the divide and conquer mentality. Yeah. Whereas people are starting to be like, hold on a second, no, I just want everyone to have a better fucking quality of life. The shit that we've said in the very early conspiratorium about why we think the way we think is because we believe that there's a better world. And if you bring that full circle from those first episodes to now, that has not changed, and it's more applicable now than it ever was before. We thought the world was fucked up at that time. Before, you know, when we were just at the start of coronavirus, before we started seeing dictatorship level, totalitarian movements being made by these governments, you know, when back then, when no one even knew what the fuck was going on, you know, and the way that that has come to now, it's more fucking applicable than ever. Yeah.
So what's next, bro?
What's next in the world?
When do they pull out the alien invasion card?
Oh, it's got to be soon, man.
It's got to be soon.
It's got to be soon. That's really their only ace in the hole left.
We're gonna hark back to this in fucking March 2023 and be like, remember in March last year we said about the alien invasion?
I don't think World War III is possible. I don't think enough people will fight it. I don't think enough people are like going to sign up for that. It's not going to happen.
Too many people understand, bro.
People are not patriotic for their government anymore. People used to falsely fall for, I love my country. But now they know the people that run the country and what they stand for. No one's fighting for them. Yeah. And that's a big difference between now and where they were able to control the entire flow of information based on the one newspaper for every fucking town or whatever. Yeah. These days, with the what do you call it? The availability of information, in the age of information. Yeah. No one. There was already a massive percentage of us that were like, I'm never going to fucking support that. Now this last 2 years has only made that exponentially bigger. Oh yeah. Who the fuck's going to willingly take up arms now? You're still going to get your percentage that are just blindly patriotic and like, I still fucking hate them more than. Whatever, that's going to happen.
Here's the thing.
I can't stand for it at all.
Yeah, look, here's the thing. If X country came to fucking Adelaide, Australia, right, kicked down the doors, waving the 4-4s, then I'd have a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Then I'd have a fucking problem. Yeah. But I'm not getting on my horse and flying over to Taiwan or flying over to fucking the border of Ukraine and Russia to fight.
Yeah. But I mean, even then, even a foreign invasion, I'm still like, hey, you motherfuckers made this mess. You clean it up. Like, you know what I mean? Like talking about the government officials, like people that have allowed that to happen or built up those tensions or whatever. I'm still not going, I got your back now. I'm still going, you motherfuckers need to clean this up before it hits my doorstep. I don't give a shit about it right now, but it's gonna affect my friends.
That's
or whatever.
What I'm saying. As soon as it hits the northern suburbs of Adelaide, you know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah, that's when it becomes.
I'm still going to be fucked off at the people that let it get there. I'm not thinking just they're the bad guys. Yeah. I'm looking at both sides and being like, I'm stabbing this motherfucker and being like, you fucking caused this to our own. You know, it's.
I'll tell you what, these elections this year for both here and the US are going to be fucking monumental.
Yeah, I do.
Because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to look at both Labor and Liberal and be like, neither of you bozos know what the fuck's going on. Yeah. Right? And there's going to be a lot of people that look at the Democrats and the Republics, right? And go like, we see the snakes in the grass, we see the rhinos, we see all these bozos that are clearly bought out, right? Basically, anybody Trump's bringing up and endorsing, almost guaranteed to win. Yeah. It's at that point. Yeah. Like it's gonna be such a change in the Senate and the House and all that kind of stuff over there that it doesn't really matter what Joe Biden does. He's just the cherry on top of the cake. If the cake's going, we're going this way, he can't do anything, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting to see what goes on this year. I feel like, look, if there's a deep state member listening to us right now, right,
you're fucked.
You better hurry the fuck up and get your fucking shit done. Yeah. Because you're running out of time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think that's the perfect note to finish our little rabbit hole. It was meant to be 30 minutes. Of course, our rants couldn't stop us from going to 40.
Yeah, that's all right.
But we'll be back for another rabbit hole very soon.
We will.
Peace out.
Peace out.